Hey guys, I probably don't have very long to do this. I had already did a video, but it was almost 30 minutes long, and so I'm going to try to shorten it up. I have to take sociology in order to get my degree in psychology. So in this class, sociology covers race and politics and social issues, and we had to write a research analysis paper on any topic that we choose. So I chose the stigma and discrimination of the weight bias. And I chose this because I am the stigma. And in doing this research paper, I discovered not only so many different facts, but also something about myself that I'm prepared to reveal to everyone for the first time. So the one of the biggest problems with the stigma of weight bias is that it's prevalent in the healthcare system, and it's so badly prevalent in the healthcare system. We're viewed as a burden. We're a burden to the healthcare system because there is over $200 million spent each year in diseases caused by obesity. Now, so there's diabetes, there's hypertension, there's all sorts of different diseases like heart attack and stroke, things that can happen because you're obese. But I also want to point out the fact that these are all things that you can get without being obese. I went to high school with a set of boys, brothers, and they had a younger sister, and she's very thin, very, very thin, and she's a diabetic. She takes insulin. And so I don't see weight being a factor there. And my dad is in perfect health, and he is active, and he eats right, and he is a good portion size and everything, and he has hypertension, high blood pressure, which so does my overweight mother. So I stood no chance there. I have high blood pressure. So there's been times that I've gone to the hospital. I went once with endometriosis, and I was told that if I had a healthier lifestyle, I wouldn't have gotten endometriosis. Now, if you're a woman, you probably know what it is, especially if you've had kids, and it has to do with your uterus. It has nothing to do with your weight. Your uterus doesn't care if you're fat or skinny. You can get endometriosis any age, size. Okay, so that was such a serious issue for me, to the point where she made me feel so bad about myself that I got up and I got out of my hospital gown and I walked out of the ER. And then her boss had called me, somebody from the hospital had called me and said, "We're just checking in because you left against medical advice." And I said, "Well, I'm not going to sit there and be ridiculed. I'm a bigger woman, but I have something that has nothing to do with my weight." And she just made me feel like garbage about myself. So, and just another thing about weight is it's not always the individual's fault. There are arguments on both sides of the spectrum, but it's not always the person's fault. There is thyroid disease. There is genetic diabetes that you get, one day you're a diabetic. I'm a severe hypoglycemic since I was 16. I survive on carbohydrates. I had done a no-carb diet once, and I lost 11 pounds in a week, and I was so happy until I went into shock, and I ended up in the hospital almost dead. Was it worth it? No. Is it worth it to be skinny? No. And there are so many consequences that do come with being obese, but there's consequences that come with being discriminated for being obese or overweight. Depression and anxiety, suicide, pills, refusing to eat, eating too much or too little, eating disorders, bulimia nervosa, anorexia nervosa. And these eating disorders can and will kill you. It's not worth it to fit into society's view of beautiful. It's very, very prevalent in the media, even in children's books and movies, where the person that is obese is seen as a negative force. And then, even in my favorite TV show, Friends, I've watched that show since the 90s, and I didn't notice it until I did this paper that, fat Monica was a negative force. She wasn't considered beautiful to Chandler, who made fun of her for being overweight until she got thin, and then he thought she was beautiful. That's sending out a horrible message. That's sending out the message that, hey, unless you're thin, You're not going to be beautiful. And you know what? I struggle with weight. I took the birth control shot and gained 87 pounds from it in less than a year. Water weight that will not come off no matter what I've done. I have tried to be active. I have some kind of genetic knee thing that stops me from being overactive. I've done every fad diet that there is, Atkins, keto. I've tried it all. With the exception, keto only lasted about 48 hours because I just, But, we're not just lazy. We don't just sit around eating donuts all day and Twinkies and not giving a crap about our bodies. That's not how it works. And I started this YouTube channel, That One Fat Chick, because I do sometimes use my weight as my own humor. When I go out with my friends, I consider myself the duff of the group, the designated ugly fat friend. And I say that to people, and we laugh about it and they say, oh, don't say that about yourself. And I say, no, it's cool because I'm totally okay with myself. I don't need validation from anybody. But in reality, where do you think I'm sitting when all my friends are being asked to dance and getting drinks bought for them and stuff? I'm sitting in the corner, by myself because I get looked at as disgusting, and so it does become hard. And I do try to remain confident because I know that I'm a good soul. I know I'm a good person. I help people. I do what I can. I spent 14 years as a home health aide. I know that I'm not a bad person, and my personality is not defined by my weight whatsoever. And it's important that I teach my 4 daughters the same concept. Be a beautiful person inside. And if people don't think that you're beautiful on the inside, that's on them. But the whole point is to love yourself no matter what. And something I'm going to reveal today that I noticed, I analyzed myself and came to the conclusion that I am currently suffering from an eating disorder, whereas I don't eat. I won't eat for 4 or 5 days, just, a couple crackers or some cottage cheese, mostly water, and then on the 6th day, I'll binge eat because I'm so hungry, because my mind is telling my body, you're not hungry, you're not hungry, you're not hungry. So I just feel nauseated all day, every day, and I do try to be active, but it is painful for me. I do have health problems that, some of them aren't directly related to being obese, but there are things that are wrong with my body that prevent me from being active for too long, too much. And so it hurts me. And so when my friends are like, let's go do this, let's go do that, let's go on a walk, let's go hike, most of the time I will come up with an excuse not to because I know it's going to hurt. And on those days, I don't feel like laying in bed in pain for 2 days later. So try to be understanding with those that suffer with their weight, because sometimes it's not directly all their fault. I was 130 when I got pregnant with Aurora when I was 17. And I was a little chubby, but I wasn't obese. Sorry, smoker's cough, not coronavirus. But after Aurora, I snapped back. And then I gained a little weight. I went up to about 140. I got pregnant with Serenity. I snapped back. I got back down to 125. When Cambry was born, she turned sideways and what was called a transverse lie, and it was an emergency C-section. I didn't snap back after that. And then I got pregnant with Justice. And then after Justice, I just kept gaining and gaining and gaining because I got on birth control to keep from having any more kids. And I gained 87 pounds. And now, 7 years later, I still can't get it off. And so things like eating disorders, that's a consequence of being treated like you're not good enough. So when I have men that see me on Facebook, and make little comments in my inbox, when they're trying to do that stupid, don't know how to be a gentleman hitting on me, and I tell them, like, look, I'm not interested. And what's the first thing they say? Well, you're just a fat bitch anyway. Stuff like that. Apparently it sticks up here. No matter how much you tell yourself, hey, I'm confident, I don't care, you could think whatever you want. it sticks up there and then it all comes out when you don't want it to. And so that's what I'm dealing with right now. And it's okay because I know that I can get myself through this, you know, and I don't want a lot of sympathy. I haven't made this a public thing on Facebook or anything. I'm just telling you guys because it's so important to end this stigma and to love yourself the way you are, for your rolls and your stretch marks and your wrinkles in your foreheads. Because if you're not going to love you, how do you expect anybody else to? And that's the whole point of the matter. So try to love yourself and research. Do some research, especially if you're one of those people that cuts other people down for being bigger. Do some research, okay? And understand that all women are beautiful. I have zero bias against skinny women. Zero envy. It's easier for them to take care of their body, you know? And that's fine. For some women, that works. For some women, exercise and plexus and all these other little pyramid schemes that are going around, those work for you, and that's great. That is a wonderful thing. But for women like me, it doesn't work. I've done the slim fast. I've almost killed myself trying to get thin. And now I have a mind that's telling my body it's not hungry because I've stored all of that bias in my head, and it's being in quarantine, it's all coming to the surface. So I highly suggest people do some research. And for all you women out there, don't cut other women down. Our whole goal is to empower other women to be great, to be wonderful, and to love themselves. So if you're one of those women that tear other women down, you're a loser. Build other women up. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You're not supposed to tell a woman, maybe you should lose a little weight. Even your friends, even if you have a best friend, you know, sympathize and try to understand why she doesn't want to be active, you know, why she doesn't eat much or she eats too much. Why don't you try understanding and doing some research before assuming that she's just a lazy piece of crap that sits on the couch and eats all day? Because that's not what we do. I'm up from sunrise to sundown, you know, mostly cleaning my house, but still. And I hope that this message reaches somebody, and I hope that women all over start standing up and ending the stigma of weight bias. It's not healthy. You can argue that being obese isn't healthy, but neither is this. It's not healthy to kill yourself to fit into society's standard of beauty. It's not worth it to kill yourself to be a model on the front cover of Victoria's Secret. Because you know what? Sometimes it's just not reality. Especially if you've had kids. You know, I will never be skinny. Ever in my life. No matter what I do, I'll never be thin. I have big hips and big thighs and stretch marks and blemishes and wrinkles and weird red stuff that pops up on my face. You know, but I'm still going to love myself, and I really encourage you all to love yourself just as much. And I am open. I am 100% open for conversation, for discussion. You could find me Jessica Butts on Facebook. My profile picture's in black and white. I still don't know how to show things on my screen while I'm doing a video yet. But you know, R. Thomas Fan 1 on Twitter. Instagram is Jedi Jesse 44 or Jedi Jesse 1987 something. And I'm gonna start my own movement of ending the stigma and the discrimination of the weight bias, because it's not fair, and women are discriminated against in education, in healthcare, in employment, in the media. Why? For what reason? Why are we not good enough because we carry a little extra weight? Get your facts straight, get your research done, and any of you women that feel like you need to talk about an eating disorder or any kind of psychological thing going on because of discrimination or bias, please reach out to me. I highly encourage you to reach out to me, and I'll help you get through this, and we'll do it together. And that's my offer. That is my offer in the first step of ending the weight bias. Thank you guys for listening for 15 minutes. And I will check in with you guys later in the week. I hope everybody is staying safe and doing good. This is a very crazy time for our country, our world, our entire world. And the most important thing is to be there for one another, whether it's just a Zoom call or a text message or an email. There's another thing, you can email my YouTube channel at thatonefatchick44@gmail.com. So, please reach out if you need to. And know that you're not by yourself, and that you are loved, and that you are freaking gorgeous. Any way that you are, you're beautiful. It doesn't matter what you look like at all. It matters who you are. Okay, beauty's only skin deep. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.